Welcome back to the morning show here on Rise News. It's time for What's Trending with Okpe. I mean, take us around the world and tell us what's trending.
I actually like that time for What's Trending.
It's time for What's Trending. This time around, we're taking a lot of stories from Nigeria. Good morning, Leila. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? I was going to call you Ruben, but you're not. You're fine.
There's always an hour somewhere.
Yeah.
And good morning to you, viewers. We begin What's Trending today in Nigeria. As yesterday marked 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, with the support of the British Council, launched the Nigerian Sexual Offenders Register to curb sexual violence in Nigeria. Nigerians have hailed this move as a step in the right direction. The agency set up an online database of those convicted of sexual violence since 2015 in order for the public and the police authorities to conduct background checks and identify repeat offenders. With this register, victims can now report an incident and also go through the names of those convicted. This is a first of its kind in Nigeria.
Yes.
Great development.
Long overdue anyway.
Really long overdue.
I'm not excited because this should have been done long ago.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
And when you say you just have a data back this till 2015, I think it's just...
it's a starting point.
It's a starting point, but it's not a good enough starting point. And when you look at the way we have a society that strongly supports, sexual offense against women, and for me, it's a thing that society supports. And I'll give you a quick instance. When the case was decided recently, to my dismay, I was shocked as regards the rape saga that some women...
Who is it? The Busala Dakolo case?
Yes,
correct.
Some women came out and said some very... I don't want to use those words on television.
But why would that shock you, though?
It inebriates
No,
me.
but that shouldn't shock you, because this is the problem that we have when we live in a society that is misinformed when it comes to sexual assault and rape, and that's the problem that we have. But what we do also have is a situation where agencies and CSOs, agencies of government like the DSVRT, that's the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, and also CSOs like WARIF, the Women of Risk International Foundation, have been working so hard to come together with data as much as they can, even if it only dates as far back as 2015, to get us to a point where we can actually say, hey, now we actually have a sex offenders registry. And in as much as we do need to do a lot more around the prevalent rape culture in Nigeria, a starting point always has to be celebrated. At least now we do have a sex offenders registry.
You're absolutely right. This is a great step in the right direction to start with.
It's a great step in the right direction, but I feel, and my personal opinion here, I feel it's just derogatory to think of the memories of women that probably might have lost their lives, lost their dreams, lost their careers in yesteryears.
Yes, because of the way that the police have been reporting these cases and handling these cases,
and that hurt me.
Which is true.
And for me,
but then,
if justice doesn't go to those people, it is painful.
So now that's the issue around it, because yes, we'll set up this database.
It's a good start.
Yes, we'll set up this database and we'll have all these informations. I mean, it'll also allow schools and hospitals and other government bodies to be able to access that. Right. And so it will help to deter these people from committing this crime. It's one good step in the right direction. But then we talk about the justice system. What happens at the end of the day when we have all these records of these convicted criminals in those database? How do we adjust that? How do we address that as well?
That under the Governor Ambode administration of Lagos State, they did also put into law the 25-year jail term for perpetrators of sexual and/or domestic violence. And the entire conversation was around other states following suit with this new law. We do need to actually do our research and check in on it. Now, why I said this is welcoming and why I mentioned WARIF earlier is that even if we take WARIF's own data, right, 1 in 8 men today are actually either survivors of sexual assault or rape, and 1 in 3 women in Nigeria. So when you have that situation as your rape culture, we do still have to recognize every development.
Let me tell you a personal example, and this is why it hurts me. I knew of a case, I heard, in fact, of a case where somebody was, and the parents of the boy settled the case with 10,000 naira.
The parents of the boy that was
settled.
So that's the issue also, and that's the statistics.
And you know what hurts me is the fact that there and then there was a commercialization of the dignity of a woman.
Yes. And it happens
I
all
can't
over
sleep
the
when I see
world.
things like that.
So the issue now, the statistics you just said, literally, it is UNICEF reported that it is 1 in 4 people that have been accused or have faced sexual violence under the age of 18, really. And these people are either family members or people within their community, and they have that shame or that culture where you cannot really report the incident. So,
which is why a sex offenders register
it's very welcoming.
It's welcoming
It's a
because we
welcome
need to start off with the orientation
It's a
of our
welcome one,
people.
but when we start to get data way back 2015, let's also extend it. Let's also do more work. So more funding should come in.
yes.
But Rafai, that goes cross-board for every single thing that we don't have data for in the country today. Even our population, even the number of kids that die from pneumonia every single year.
Yes.
We have a data collection problem as a whole. It's not particular to the case of rape and sexual assault.
I'm particularly concerned about this.
So am I,
It is a great development. There are also 50 non-governmental organizations that will support this database, providing and updating this database monthly. And there should be more awareness created to this database, really, even to just other bodies, just so that they know that they have to conduct, like we do everywhere in the world, conduct a background check before you hire somebody.
Oh, yeah.
And it's good that the UN also did that. Well, this came in during the UN's 16 Days of Activism that happens every year, also called Orange the World, where everyone is encouraged to wear orange, etc., to stand with survivors of sexual and domestic abuse. It's
Absolutely.
great.
Well, still in Nigeria, the sponsor of the Protection from Internet Falsehoods and Manipulation Bill, also known as the Anti-Social Media Bill, Senator Sani Musa has defended the allegations of plagiarism levied against him. The senator, through his Twitter handle, explained that the similarity between his draft bill and the Singaporean statute on the same subject was in order. Over the weekend, a copy of the Singaporean legislation on the same subject matter surfaced on social media, and users suggested that the title and most of the contents of the senator's bill currently undergoing debate at the National Assembly was the same. In defending his action, the senator said, in quote, "It is preposterous that the case is said to be an instance of plagiarism. All over the world, legislation in other jurisdictions does influence the form and substances in other jurisdictions, including company law reforms, trademark legislation, and securities regulations," adding that the problem and challenges of regulating internet activities cut across jurisdiction.
I mean, I'll challenge that by saying I did look at, the Singaporean bill. It was about 67-page document. I did read through it. There were similarities, and the truth is, I take exception. I'm not going to say there was a case of plagiarism, because you can't. That might be libelous, but I take very strong exceptions to it because the terms in Singapore is a police state. I mean, if you check the ranking of freedom, Singapore runs about 151
there we go.
out of 180.
That's why I was smiling.
Singapore is a police state. Wow. And you see, I was reading some of the terms on that Singaporean bill, as much as $50,000 fines, and the fact that police can actually come in to enforce. We all know Singapore is a police state.
Yeah.
And the terms are very, very hard in Singapore. But we should not forget that Nigeria is a democracy. I will not outrightly call Singapore a democracy. I will not outrightly call Singapore a democracy, where the opposition is highly stifled. It's been Lee Kuan Yew, he who's seen his son, after his father died, is his son, and the opposition is almost non-existent. So to a large extent, he should go look at that bill again.
And that's the issue, and everyone's really upset about it.
All it's going to take is putting it through the right plagiarism check. So, you know why I started smiling? It was when I actually saw the picture that said Singapore and the one that said Nigeria, and I said, oh dear.
Yes.
So, I mean,
it's
these are allegations.
Word for word.
These are allegations, but I really do encourage them to put this through a check.
It was so funny to the extent that you were just seeing, the substitution of online and internet.
Yes. And that's what it is. I mean, well, he rightly said that it is okay. I mean, it is in order because most legislations are always cut across the globe,
Yeah.
But I think that, like you said, we are a democracy, and you should actually walk towards our democracy and not against us, because I don't see any reason why he should, go word for word with that document.
Absolutely.
Should we take our final story in Nigeria? Okay. This is a funny story. A village in Kano State have been renamed from the village of idiots to the village of plenty, ending their 70 years of shame. The name of the village was changed by the newly installed Emir of Karaye, who is one of the 4 emirs that the governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, created. The villagers had complained that they had been living in shame for years due to the name of the village, which they acquired from a river in the village named the Idiotic River. This comes after a court declared that the creation of the 4 emirs by Ganduje, including that of Emir Karaye, did not follow due process and is considered null and void.
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? That's a good development for them.
But the areas were funny.
No, I know that's a good deal.
I think there's a certain place in Norway called Hell.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
wow.
I'm going to look that up. Oji, thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.